right? It's the Maccabees who really are the ones during the 2nd century who are going to bring the Torah to the center of the community. Before that, even though Ezra and Nehemiah says it was, in keeping with the divine plan, after they had been conquered, they repent, return, but we know that's not the case. There is a community, they write to Jerusalem, they worship Yahweh, but they worship Yahweh's wife too. They worship they give money to sacrifices to Khnum and other Egyptian gods and so forth. It seems they have a lot of different things that are just clearly idolatrous. And the priests in Jerusalem and the authorities in Jerusalem they should say, we would expect them to say, we have nothing to do with you backsliders. We will have nothing to do with your community. We are not going to support you to build a temple to Yahweh and his wife. The only temple, according to the Torah, is to be built in Jerusalem. We go back to one family. Now that we're defeated and conquered, we got to come together. We were a family, a nation. That's new. We don't have narratives of peoples in relation to other peoples like we have in Herodotus and Thucydides and in Greek history writing. We don't have that in the ancient Near East, but we have it in the Bible. Then the question is, so what's the connection?
We are Myth Vision. Welcome back to Myth Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Lambert. Today, I have Dr. Jacob L. Wright joining us today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Derek. Nice to be on your show.
I'm excited to have you here. In fact, you have a book that you've just launched that is so important on answering the question of why the Bible was written, period. Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
The question why is really the central question for me. The books that we have on the Bible, one of the biggest books is Who Wrote the Bible? And it's by Richard Elliott Friedman. He says, there's a scribe under Jeremiah, Baruch, and he tries to give a name to it. And I think all that kind of speculation is not helpful. So, who wrote the Bible? Well, my answer is a bunch of nameless scribes, generations of scribes who we know nothing about. And trying to put a name on it is really unhelpful. So there are a lot of books on who, where, when the Bible was written. And that's a big part of my project. And then there's also this what question, what the Bible teaches. And there's this war between, is the morality of the Bible something that we should adopt in our societies? Or no, the morality of the Bible is really so old and awful and so forth. So there's that war there. My question is why? Why was the Bible written? And that question has never really been addressed in biblical scholarship. And the reason why, it's really a minefield. To try to explain why a text was written goes to the heart of theological questions. And let's face it, there are a lot of biblical scholars who may not belong to a religious kind of affiliation, but they still are guided by presuppositions that are very theological, and they avoid issues that are going to offend believers. And I'm not trying to offend believers, but I am trying to tell the truth because I think it's helpful and to explain why we have a Bible. And I hope that it helps. I think it's getting a lot of resonance with people. It's one of the best 5 books on religion, according to the Publishers Weekly. And this is a book on the Bible. And it also, though, goes and debunks hypotheses and long-held traditions and theological positions. And it's still getting a lot of traction among people who care.
Dr. Wright, your book is also up there for 2023 on the New Yorker. So this is a very important book. It's resonating with many people. I hope people watching this right now will go down in the description, get you a copy, read it for yourself, and let us know what you think about it. Because I'm telling you, this question and how we explain this, I think will solve a lot of things and change a lot of things within the scholarship of the field that I've read. So can you tell us, at least give us the tease as to what led up to writing the Bible?
Defeat. My answer, that's my puppy Hank just walking out. Defeat is the answer for why we have a Bible. There was a kingdom. There was actually two kingdoms, the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. And they were both destroyed by empires, the Assyrian Empire and then the Babylonian Empire. And because these empires destroyed these kingdoms, that's why we have a Bible. We don't have a Bible because it goes back to Moses receiving revelation. A lot of people now maybe don't agree with that position, but they still try to trace old texts back to King David and Solomon's court and so forth. Maybe we have some old text, but they have been thoroughly reshaped as a roadmap for survival for a community that had been conquered. Now, that's a problem for many people, you can imagine, right? It explains all of the Bible, all of the theology, all of the religious innovation, the very fact that we have a text. It explains it by natural reasons, very humanistic reasons. And for people who aren't easily offended, like the Adam Gopnik at the New Yorker, they find real truth and meaning from this because the truth does help us, right? And I guess religious conservatives might be offended by it. I get some emails, quite a few every day about this. I get someone praying for me, hoping that I'll accept Jesus. I'm Jewish, but Jesus was a nice Jewish guy, but I'm not going to accept any kind of stuff that doesn't get to the heart of truth. And the truth is going to set us free. I really do believe that. And the truth of my project is the Bible is a human response, an ingenious one, but a human response to defeat. It can be thoroughly explained by a community living on the margins who don't know how to survive when empires are no longer allowing them to have kingdoms and to have territorial sovereignty and a palace and so forth. And they reorient their attention from the king to a god, and they reorient their attention to a text.
You actually are in the vein of exactly what Myth Vision's all about. We want to solve the riddles of ancient history and the sands of time, with thumbprints, not with abracadabra, ghosts, and mystical kind of explanations.